So, good morning, and we are now going to sing our song together.
I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here.
So, let's just take a moment with those words and allow ourselves to sink into that knowing that each soul, our soul, has been made welcome by our very birth. Our soul was called forth to this planet. And so you may wish to say to yourself, I belong, and allow that feeling. I invite you to put your hand on your heart and whisper to that heart space, I belong. And just notice how that feels to know that. And so we know that this vast, loving presence of the universe has affirmed that by our very being. And so now let's bring to mind perhaps someone in our lives that may be struggling right now. And let's whisper for them, you belong. This universe of love embraces you. And let's bring to mind now that there are people in our world that feel pushed out, that feel like they're being told that they don't belong. And so we embrace our world by saying all belong, all belong. And so let's join together in this prayer, our prayer each week, that we take that deep breath of belonging, knowing that we are the one mind, the one heart, the one breath of belonging. So we pray, oh great love, thank you for living and loving in us and through us. May all that we do flow from our deep connection with you and all beings. Listen to our heart's longings for the healing of our world as we open to the infinite field of compassion, wisdom, justice, peace, and radiant well-being that is always available. And so from this place of conscious oneness, of belonging, we choose to live in your flow. And we offer our prayers in all the holy names of God. Amen. So good morning. And if you arrived late, you might not have heard me. I'm introducing this morning. The Reverend Jessie James is with us. And she is a at least 25-year friend. We met we kept meeting each other in all sorts of places, everywhere. I mean, in North Carolina, in South Florida, where we were, and then at Unity, our church was so big, First Unity, that there were like 400 some people there on Sunday. So I really didn't get to know her, but we were kind of sitting side by side. So we became licensed teachers together. We ran a large youth ed program together. And then she went off to ministerial school. And I encouraged and was her, rah, rah, you are just great. And she was mine when 3 years later, I left for school too. So she is going to be our speaker today about new beginnings. And I just want to remind you that probably later today or early tomorrow, you'll get an email with the notes from today's session. And you'll also get a link to our YouTube. And I really appreciate, we've really gotten a great turnout from all sorts of people coming. They might not be here on Sunday with us, but I'm just amazed between that and our Facebook page, how many people are connecting with us. And so that's really exciting. And I've gotten some nice letters and feedback. So so glad you're here bringing this consciousness today and bringing us together in this consciousness. And so I'm not going to turn it over to Janine, and we are going to start this day with music.
Okay, this is a song by Janice Stanfield, If I Were Brave. What would I do if I knew that I could not fail? If I believed would the wind always fill up my sail? How far would I go? What could I achieve? Trusting the hero in me. If I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge where fools and dreamers dare to tread. Never lose faith, even when losing my way. What step would I take today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? Sing that with me. What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What if we're all meant to do what we secretly dream? What would you ask if you knew you could have anything? Like the mighty oak sleeps in the heart of a seed, are there miracles in you and me? If I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge where fools and dreamers dare to tread. Never lose faith, even when losing my way. What step would I take today if I were brave? If I refuse to listen to the voice of fear, would the voice of I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge where fools and dreamers dare to tread. Never lose faith, even when losing my way. What step would I take today if I were brave? You can do this part with me. What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? If I were brave, if I were brave.
So let's just let that song, let the lyrics of that song, the melody, the energy of that song flow through us for just a moment, because as I was sitting here listening, Janine, it's such an invitation, isn't it? An invitation to step out into that unknown, that new beginning, a new beginning to remember, first of all, how we're held, and that's what allows us to step out into that unknown. So we just give thanks for these teachings and this opportunity to expand and grow our consciousness, because that's where all new beginnings start. To expand and grow and deepen this trust walk during this process of change. Thank you for that song. And thank you for this series, Barbara. For me, just the name of it, trusting the process of change, trusting the process of life, trusting the process of all that's going on in our world, working with this series during this time has just grown me. So I hope the rest of you, as you're working with it, it's doing that for you too, because it's deepened something in me of that scared little Minnie that used to reside down underneath all the wonderful spiritual truths, all the mystical experiences, all the affirmations that I'd lived this. There was still that scared little Minnie down in there. I could feel it energetically. And you know what? It's softening. So I really hope that that's true for all of us, because that's what working with these teachings is about. And an affirmation that I've been using during this time, and I share with you, is I stand boldly knowing all is well. I stand boldly knowing all is well. And so I've been waking with that each morning as I go through this whole process. And I've also been working with a couple practices that I'll share here at the beginning that have really been helping me step into that brave heart as well. The first one is gratitude. Now I know gratitude is no new thing to any of us, and we've done gratitude lists all our life, or not all our life, but our spiritual life maybe. It was the first spiritual practice I ever opened into. But I've been doing it differently. I've been doing it not with just listing things. I've been thinking about my day and thinking about one or two things that showed up, and then laying with them there, sitting with them there, and going deeper with them, so that I can get a full body experience of growing gratitude for how I've seen God show up in my world. And it's giving me a deeper experience with all of this. And then in the morning, I put out the idea of wonder. And that word wonder has been coming across my email. It's been coming every place for me, of wondering how God's going to show up today. I wonder how I'm going to be able to deepen my practice. I wonder what magical thing is going to show up that's going to help me. And instead of trying to figure it out, there's such a lightness about it, isn't there? And that's just helping me. And then as I was standing, visioning myself standing at this portal of this new beginning, Myrtle came to me, our co-founder. And a favorite prayer of hers was the prayer of faith. And I don't know the whole prayer, but I do know the first two lines. And I've been, and of course, the minute I say that, my mind goes, yeah. But God is my help in every need. God does my every hunger feed. And so I've been sitting with that every morning too. And then, God, when I use the word God, it still kind of takes me to that outer God of my childhood. And so I've been using the word living presence, or oh, great love. Oh, great love is my help in every need. Oh, this living presence is my help in every need. Feeds every hunger that may show up. So those are some of the things I've been using as we've traveled through the endings and the void. And I've been traveling with you, even though Barbara's been doing the messages. And I hope for each of you that you've been spending time with each of these, because it's about honoring each of those stages and what it brings up to be able to really allow ourselves to step boldly into that unknown. And the ending stage for me was so much about feelings, about feeling old feelings of things that maybe I hadn't totally processed, or forgiveness work of letting go. And then that void of wandering in that desert of that unknown, and could I let myself just really listen and grow in that void of not knowing anything. And I'll share with you a visual that came to me that was very magical as I was doing my walk through these two stages. I had dinner with a friend, Marla actually, who's on the call, and we'd been out on the deck. And so I knew it was beautiful and it was clear. And the next morning I woke up and there was this whole spider web with a couple little tears in it. And I love animals, and they always speak to me when they show up. I always look, and spiders about what are we weaving in our lives, and as I was watching the spider, she pulled that web up into her body, quadrant by quadrant by quadrant by quadrant, and it was just gone, like the endings in our life. I didn't know they did that. It was this magical, just, oh yeah, this is what an ending looks like. It's just gone. And so that was the first magic of the spider. And then the next morning I went out onto the deck, and here was a single strand hanging down with a circle about this big, about the size of a quarter 50-cent piece, with the spider in the middle of it, just dangling, hanging there. And I thought, well, isn't that like the void? Isn't that like the void, where we just are hanging out there, clinging to these teachings because we don't have anything else? It's the other things have ended, and just going deeper with these truths. At least that's what it said to me. And I just had been hanging out in that place of going deeper with this God walk and seeing what's happening in my world, what's happening in our greater world, but knowing underneath there are all these spiritual truths holding us, allowing us to move through into our new beginning. And there's a quote by Richard Rohr that is one of the things I've been holding on to through this time. And it says, there's a universal pattern. Now that would be what we in Unity call divine order. There's a universal pattern happening here, whereby the old order is passing away through an often painful and seemingly unnecessary disorder to an enlightened reorder, resurrection, new beginning. Isn't that what the world kind of feels like right now? And I know for me, as Barbara's already said earlier, this isn't a linear process. And so as I've worked with this book and these teachings, you know, some days I may feel like, oh, there's a little bit more of that ending that I have to work with, or I'm still kind of hanging out here in the void, getting ready to step into this new beginning. But I'm ready. I'm standing there. I'm picturing it as a portal of just ready to step in. What is God nudging me to do? And maybe it's just to hold this deeper consciousness right now. Maybe I don't have something that I'm stepping forth into, but it's to really be ready with this deeper knowing of who I am. Because isn't that underneath all of our new beginnings? It's a deeper knowing that we are this presence, this connection of God. And one of the places that this last couple of weeks as I've been doing this, and I was reflecting again at night with this gratitude and this wonder, and something really came through for me right when I asked for it. And it was just this, you know, it's nothing new. It's our teachings. We talk about the teachings of oneness and how our thoughts create our expression, and we know we're connected, but then we get these little aha places where something happens to go, oh yeah. And as I put out a question, the answer came instantly. Don't you love it when that happens? And in that instant, because I've been working with wonder and gratitude and sinking in deeper, I sat there with it. And it was just this, this presence and this power is who I am. It's who each of us are. And as we allow ourselves during this time of this pandemic to spend a little more time really sinking in and allowing them to come alive in us, I can't wait to see who we all are when we really step out when this pandemic is over. But we're going to talk about stepping out today. And Moses drew us out to this place where we're standing at the portal of our new beginning. But Moses didn't have that consciousness to take us into that promised land. And so that's that place where all these old fears and doubts are, have to move away. And that's why it's kind of cyclical, I think, sometimes. But Moses was that energy in us, that Moses consciousness that draws us, getting ready for this new beginning. But then what we need for this new beginning is Joshua. And Joshua is that, he was an outer warrior, but we have to claim our inner warrior and our outer warrior, perhaps. And he stands for that courage and bravery that Janine, you were singing about. And we all have that courage and bravery in us, but sometimes I have to really pull it forth. How about you? Or really focus on it and go, ooh, I can do this. And know that new beginning that maybe I'm being nudged to is actually God knocking on the inside of our hearts. I heard that phrase a long time ago in Unity, that whatever is calling us is actually God calling us. So how can we not be ready for it, even though it may not feel like we're ready for it? So Joshua is that inner warrior. And the word Joshua is the Hebrew version of the Greek word for Jesus, for Yeshua. So it's actually Joshua and Jesus, our way shower, calling us into this. You can do this, honey. No need to be afraid here. Let that old fear just drop away and sink into that Christ consciousness that's just waiting for this new beginning to be called forth. So there's a scripture that again found me years ago, probably when I was at another one of these junctures in my life of stepping into something new. It was actually, I had finished ministerial school and I was doing an internship. And so it was all brand new in ministry. And I was a little wobbly, you know, that place? It was that place where I was wanting to have that ending of all those old fear thoughts, but I was a little wobbly. And when you ever open the Bible to just a page and see and put your finger down and see what shows up? And it was in Jeremiah 29:11. Some of you may know it. And it's, "For I know what I have for you, plans to prosper you and not harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." And I have called on that a number of times when there have been these things dropping away in my life and I was still in that place of the void and getting ready to step into that new beginning, but not knowing how it's going to unfold. Plans to prosper you, plans to give you a new hope. That just, I don't know, that speaks to my heart. Plans to give me that new future. It's drawing me forward. But to do this, we have to really commit to this new beginning. We have to commit to not letting those old thoughts draw us back, don't we? And there's I want to read to you. It's not a new, it's my favorite quote on commitment. I imagine some of you have heard this before too, but it's that place where if we want to step boldly and we really want to welcome that new beginning, we have to commit that this is what I'm going to do. And it's by Henry David Thoreau. "If one advances confidently in the direction of their dreams and endeavors to live the life which we've imagined, we will meet with a success unexpected in common hours. We will put some things behind, will pass an invisible boundary, and new, universal, and more liberal laws will begin to establish themselves around and within ourselves. Or the old laws will be expanded and interpreted in our favor in a more liberal sense, and we will live with the license of a higher order of beings." Deep breath. Have you experienced that? Have you experienced that where just the old just doesn't work anymore as you really commit to something? And I guess I have, as I was reading that, I was remembering a time where this really happened for me. It was one of the intensives out at ministerial school. And I was, ministerial school for me brought up all those old voices that you don't want to live from. And so I was a little scared while I was there. And I didn't think that I could do church, to be honest with you. That's my underbelly, you all. And I had been out to Orcas Island in the Northwest. And I was going to set up a study group out there because I knew I could do a study group. That really wasn't a new beginning, was it? I knew I could do a study group. But everything was falling into place for that to happen. And I was going to be going out there on a holiday. And then we had this intensive with Mary Almwyk. Now, she grew this huge church in Overland Park. And she said in her ministerial class, she was voted the least likely to succeed. And then she did a meditation. And as I sat there in that meditation that she did, I thought, wow, if she can be the least likely to succeed and grow this large, large church in Overland Park, I can do this too. And it was that shift in a moment that would take me from the endings and the void into the consciousness for that new beginning. And so when I went out to Orcas that Christmas, all the things I had set up for that study group would not happen. They all fell away because I had opened to this newer order of consciousness. And so the old has to fall away. So that's how it happens, you all. When we really let go, when something touches us, and we really let go so that it's not a pseudo new beginning. We're not trying to force something, but it's a new beginning that we're totally opened up for. And I knew I could do it. And nothing had changed in the outer, but I had changed. Have you had that experience? I know we've all had that experience. We can't be where we are in lives and not had that experience. So we call on these old memories, or they just pop in to remind us that we can do this, whatever it is that's calling us forward. And that when I talked about that word coming through the other night, the word that came through the other night when I said, God, I need something for me that will touch me into this new beginning. And instantly the word came, free spirit. And so I sat with that word, free spirit. And doesn't this process of change and working with it intentionally free our spirit? It does free our spirit. It's freed my spirit. And then I played with that word a little bit more. And I thought of people that I've thought of as free spirits in my life. Because they just kind of move with a grace. They don't need to know how things are going to work out. I know I want to be a free spirit, but I hunker down a little bit more and get real comfortable and want all my ducks in a row, you know, and you can't allow that free spirit to pull you into the unknown if you have all your ducks in a row. And so I thought of Megan Dawn. Some of you know her. And she just will be called to new countries for new experiences and not have any idea where she's going to live or how it's going to unfold, but she trusts. So there's that trust the process of change. And I bet you all have people in your lives that model that free spirit for you. And I keep saying, oh, I want to be that free spirit. So having that word come through was just such a gift. I have a picture up in my bedroom, and it's a picture of all these little girls lined up at a ballet bar, all doing the same thing, all with the same teaching. And then there's this one little girl at the end of the bar hanging upside down on it. She's the free spirit, you all. I want to be her. I've got an awful lot of the rule follower in me, but you know, I keep holding the intention and working with this and trusting this process of change. I know it's bringing that free spirit alive in me and in all of us as we really work with these teachings. But for me, I have to really be patient because I may want to step into that new beginning right now, but it may be a pseudo new beginning if I don't really have the knowing, okay, this is the time to do it. So if you're not at that place in your life where it's, okay, this is the time to do it, don't force it. This process is not about forcing anything, is it? It's about allowing, it's about listening, it's about trusting, and then as we're ready, maybe a little nudge needs to happen to go, okay, I can do this now. Maybe I can do this right now. So there's some questions that Robert puts out in the book to ask ourselves, to see where we are about how this new beginning is calling us. And these questions are really good. So I know Barbara will put those out in the email for further thought. And as I've worked with this book before, different ones have called me at different times. So listen to see if one of these is really speaking to you right now. What is it that I have always enjoyed doing? Because that may be a new version of that calling you forth. What have I felt naturally drawn or attracted to? You know, that free spirit in us is that natural, authentic being. And everything that's brought me to this place in my life is what's also part of and still calling me forward, isn't it? Calling each of us forward. What would I do with my life if I weren't concerned about money or knew I couldn't fail? What'd you do? What's that nudge? And this is one of the ones that's really speaking to me. If I were to die today, what would feel unfinished in my life? Maybe that's really speaking to me as the aging process is moving me forward. But what's unfinished in my life? I don't want any regrets. How about you? I don't want to live an unlived life. If there's something new or a piece of something new, I want to do it now while I still have this opportunity of this precious gift of life that we've been given. And then, what is it that is so important to me, to us, that I would risk everything in order to achieve it? That I would risk everything in order to achieve it. And maybe those all kind of fit together. And maybe one more speaks as we first kind of listen to it. But if this week, if we listen to it a little bit, listen to them and work with them a little bit more, maybe one of the others will speak as well. And will call forth those commitments that we're going to have to put in place to bring that new beginning forward. Because a new beginning always requires a new commitment within us. Because we would have done it before if we were committed to it before. And I know for me, as I've stepped forward in these new places, it's that place of knowing that comes alive in me, that this is mine to do. And it doesn't matter what anybody else says, which is a place that doesn't always live in me. Doesn't matter what anybody else says, I know this is mine to do. How about you? It's just that place of utter knowing. And when I have that, nothing will stop me. How about you? Fear doesn't exist there. Doubt doesn't exist there. It pulls me into that new beginning. Now, I'm not saying once I get pulled into that new beginning, they all don't come back in full force to say, really? You really let these go? You're really going to do it? And it will call me again to that deeper commitment of I'm not going to listen to those voices. I'm just not going to listen to those voices any longer. So as I was sitting with this week, I thought of examples of people that have done this. And one of them is just a wonderful story of, it's someone, I know the mother of this Jordan Thomas up here in, actually the mom lives in Blairsville. And this was a 16-year-old who was enthusiastic with life, good student, captain of the golf team. And he was with his family down in the Keys scuba diving. And he jumped into the water and he got pulled into the motor. And his legs got caught in the motor. Well, his parents, of course, turned it off and they pulled him into the boat. And both the parents were doctors, so they did all the right things and they called the ambulance and that met him on shore. And his life was forever changed. This is an ending that he had to have both legs amputated. He didn't ever feel sorry for himself, or at least that's the way the story reads and what his grandma told me. But he instantly started thinking about how can I use this experience to help other people? And he started a foundation, the Jordan Thomas Foundation. You can Google it, where he would provide prosthetic limbs for children because they would need them often through this process. And that story touched me so deeply. There had to be a place of the void in there, for him as well. But what I heard mostly was the endings and this commitment to still live a full life and to help others in the process. When Louise told me that story, it just really touched me. And then another place of a new beginning that I've heard recently, and some of you know, I have a friend who lives up here, Nancy Necco, and she's on the spiritual path like all of us are. And she had a car accident a couple of weeks ago, a pretty bad one. She was coming back from the airport, and she went into the guardrail and totaled her car, and she thought her life had ended. And she's been in quite a bit of pain from that. She has a compression fracture. But she's been working with these teachings, not wanting this to stop her. And she worked with it with a friend with hypnosis. And she's been in pain, you all. And after this hypnosis session, the pain was gone. I watched her walk. I watched her get up off my sofa. The day before, she could barely get up off the sofa. She got up and walked like it was normal. Now, I'm not saying that compression fracture still has to heal. And there has been some pain that's come back. But when we work with these teachings, you all, and we get underneath the place of fear and doubt, all things are possible in God, aren't they? All things are possible. Now, these are two stories that, have pretty big endings, that brought them alive. And I don't have that right now. I'm walking with the pandemic, like all of us are. I'm walking with not knowing where my world is going. But I'm walking, and I'm trusting, and I'm wanting to know what's calling me, or what new form of what I do is calling me forward. And I'm listening deeper than I ever have. So the invitation, we're going to go into meditation here in just a second. And Janine's going to take us in with music, because for me, that always opens my heart even wider. But just let all of this just kind of sift and be with you and see where you are in this process of change. We can't not be in change in our life right now. And see what's dropping away, or maybe where you're still hanging in the not knowing, or where you are in the readiness for this new beginning, these new commitments, these new opportunities for God to draw us, that inner warrior, to open into what's really being called forth right now. So Janine, will you take us into this time of meditation? And the invitation is, if you're comfortable, to just focus on the breath as she does this, and allow these words to take you deeper into the presence.
Bring it on, everything new, everything different, everything new. I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. I'm through crying, I'm through waiting, I'm through hoping against all hope. I'm through longing for something gone that'll never return. I think I finally learned to bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready I'm through grieving, I'm through dreaming that the life I had is ever coming back. No more wishing on someone else's star that'll never be mine. I think it's time to bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. And I've survived many times before. Broken heart, slamming the door. I'll be alright, yes I will, once more, just as I did back then. I'm gonna rise again, so bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new.
So again, the invitation to allow those lyrics and the energy of this song to breathe you. Oh, great love. We all belong to this time, right here, right now, this time of great change in our world, personally in our lives as well. We belong to this time. Chose to be here at this time, to be part of this new beginning in our own lives, but for our country and our world as well. To bring forth this consciousness of trusting this process of change, of allowing this Christ energy to have its way, to let go of the old. As much as we have loved and appreciated, and I don't know about you, but for me, never thought some of the things that would end that I'm seeing ending. And yet there are other parts that needed to end. We belong to this time of new beginnings, of new life, of new great love coming on this planet. Of new oneness and compassion for all. Knowing that truly we can't enter a new beginning until all enter a new beginning. So we embrace that oneness. We embrace our brothers and our sisters. We hold our hand out wherever we're given the opportunity to be that hand, that heart for someone else. We call forth that Joshua spirit, standing boldly, knowing all is well. Our God is right here, right now. We allow those questions to work with us this next week. And then let's rest in the silence of our being for a moment or two, that place where all true new life truly begins. In the silence of our being. Oh, great love. Stretching my heart, mind, consciousness a little wider, a little deeper, a little fuller, so I truly can stand at the portal of this new beginning, ready, willing for that free spirit to move into whatever is being called forth in me.
Bring it on, everything new, everything different, everything new. I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new.
So we just let that breath bring us back to this time. A little more readiness in our hearts, a little more commitment, hopefully. And I'll close today with a poem that came through the morning after that word, free spirit, came through. And so I have entitled this poem, Free Spirit. I hope it speaks to you. And may my words be yours, because it's talking to me, but may my words be yours. May you hear them that way. Spirit alive, fly free in me. Open me to all I've come here to be. Letting go of old structures, limiting beliefs, freeing more spirit. Ah, what a relief. Leaning in softly on the wings of new life. Spirit, soul calling, letting go of all that old strife. Letting go, soaring into the unknown. Surrendering, trusting, coming more into my own. Spirit alive, fly free in me. Open me. I'm going to cry. Open me to all I've come here to be. Blessed be you all. I hold that for all of us as we continue this walk of trusting the process of change, that we all keep being open gently to all we've come here to be. Blessed be.
Thank you, Jessie. Okay, you have me crying too, because the story she's told, we've shared on our journey. And each time one of us doubted, the other one was there to listen first and then to remind. So thank you for those questions too. I'm so looking forward to using them this week and integrating the results into next week, next Sunday. So it is our time now for our offering. And just wanted to remind you that we are always in this position offering to the world. If you want to give an offering to Unity of Chautauqua, you look at your email, you'll see an address at the bottom and our president and treasurer. You can make it out to Unity. And it is important to me to continually make each day an offering. So as we say this, you might consider with the little girl there in the picture, you might put your hands out and realize that an offering is both a giving and a receiving. So let's say this together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am grateful. And so it is.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
And so now I just want to remind you, some of you might see me here, I've got an earth here. As we say our Unity Prayer of Protection, we say it not only for ourselves and each, oh, you've got your earth. Jessie's got hers up there too. I don't know if you can see it, but if you can't, it's great. I got this actually originally at her church up in Maine. And when she showed it to me, I just had to have it. And so there we are, we're hugging our earth. And so just in your mind, hug it with us. Imagine your hands are all around this as we say our Unity Prayer of Protection together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And so it is. And thank you for being here this Sunday with us and sharing.